Howdy, my fellow time travelers. It's 1992 and Bruce Bethke, a software developer, a surfer, rock musician, teacher and sausage maker, was writing a science fiction short story titled Cyberpunk. The story is about children who lived immersed in a truly technological society with their own culture, disparate from mainstream society as it appeared at that time. Delany will bring the rest of this dystopian story to you today. Enjoy!
This is how the name cyberpunk was coined. The author derived the term from the word cybernetics, the science of replacing human functions with computerized ones, and punk, the cacophonous music and nihilistic sensibility that developed in the youth culture during the 1970s and 80s. The roots of cyberpunk extended past Bethke's tale to the technological fiction of the 1940s and 50s, to the writings of Samuel R. Delany and others who took up the themes of alienation in a high-tech future. The main character in Cyberpunk is Mikey, a teenage computer expert who uses his technical knowledge with his friends to cause trouble online. He encounters interference from his parents and uses his skills to circumvent their will. Today we call them hackers. This novel was purchased by a publisher via an exclusive contract that forbade Bethke to sell the novel to another publisher. However, the publisher decided not to release the novel, causing several years of legal battles over the rights to the book. During a 2005 interview, Bethke said that the publisher didn't publish his story because he refused to change the ending. Bethke concluded that this book might indeed have sold better with a different ending, but he also added, "Sales aren't everything," and the story was printed 3 years later in the science fiction magazine Amazing Stories, the first magazine to focus solely on science fiction. The story's impact was large enough that after William Gibson's novel, Neuromancer, was released a year later, the term began referring to the genre tied together as cyberpunk. What are the roots behind cyberpunk culture? Cyberpunk is not just a subgenre of science fiction in a dystopian futuristic setting that tends to focus on a combination of low life and high tech. It was also defined by William Gibson in Burning Chrome, another science fiction short story about two freelance hackers. The roots of cyberpunk culture is in the new wave science fiction movement of the 1960s and 70s, and in particular when writers like Philip K. Dick, Roger Zelazny, John Brunner, J.G. Ballard, Philip Jose Farmer, and Harlan Ellison examined the impact of drug culture, technology, and the sexual revolution that was spreading at the time. In 1984, after William Gibson's Neuromancer was published, few people owned personal computers. Early rudimentary virtual reality systems existed, but were inaccessible to the average person. The virtual reality industry was mainly for medical use, flight simulation, automobile design, and military training. The World Wide Web didn't exist yet, but Gibson envisioned these technologies in his book. He also coined the term cyberspace after he had a sort of vision of what cyberspace might be. He described the word cyberspace from small and readily available components of language. Neologic spasm, the primal act of pop poetics, preceded any concept whatsoever, slick and hollow, awaiting perceived meanings. The idea of a global network of millions of computers all linked was many years away from reality in 1984, but Gibson's virtual world has come to pass in many ways. Gibson, in an interview, revealed that I was afraid to watch Blade Runner in the theater because I was afraid the movie would be better than what I myself had been able to imagine. And then he added, "Over a few years though, I started to see that in some weird way, it was the most influential film of my lifetime up to that point. It affected the way people dressed, it affected the way people decorated nightclubs. Architects started building office buildings that you could tell they had seen in Blade Runner." Did Blade Runner change the world? On some level, Blade Runner was like a blueprint that inspired many artists in a unique way. But what was in front of us for the first time was more than just an inspiration. The concept of genetic engineering triggered moral philosophy, possibly due to the classical Greek notion of hubris, and perhaps also an outrage at actions that violated natural order. Nobody can deny the religious allegories in Blade Runner. Eldon Tyrell has the appearance of a living god from within a pyramid above the clouds that exudes wealth and power. And the other character, Roy Batty, shares many similarities in this context with Lucifer. Blade Runner, of course, is the precursor of movies like Johnny Mnemonic in 1995 and New Rose Hotel in 1998, both based upon short stories by William Gibson that flopped commercially and critically but left a footprint in the cyberpunk universe. In particular, New Rose Hotel, a cyberpunk erotic drama film, co-written and directed by Abel Ferrara, and starring Christopher Walken, Willem Dafoe, and Asia Argento, was probably too anguished and tragic to be successful. But this is obviously one of the most fascinating aspects of the cyberpunk culture, along with imperfections, strangeness, and indirect minimalism that can be hypnotic or off-putting.
What do you want, friend?
There is a short step from here to the Matrix philosophy, but to really understand the Matrix franchise, we need to jump into the past and make a comparison with Plato's allegory of the cave, because in both philosophies we find the same question: what is real? Plato's cave focuses attention on what is real for a prisoner who spent all his life in a cave, and the only thing that he can see is his shadow reflected on the wall. That shadow is his reality. He thinks the shadow is real. He doesn't have any knowledge about reality. For him, the only reality is the cave and his shadow. But finally, when he goes outside, at that point he can understand that he spent his whole life looking at his shadow on the wall and that it wasn't real. It's like Neo in The Matrix, who is trapped in a false reality created by a computer program. The program was created by machines that took over the planet. Neo and the prisoner can't achieve this knowledge without a shocking experience that proved to them that the senses are inadequate and that they can be systematically deceived. Unlike Plato's prisoner, who manages to find his way out of the cave without any help from others, Neo is helped out by Morpheus. What is shocking right now is the impact of social media and conspiracy theories on our society, that every day many experience something very similar to Neo.
5G, Pizzagate, Flat Earthers, TikTok, QAnon.
Because social media spreads conspiracy theories, many don't have time to verify the info they receive, so they believe without evidence. This is the beginning of a regime without democracy because conspiracy theories are the last refuge of dictators. But that could be a topic for another video. Two philosophical themes in the cyberpunk world are epistemology, the theory of knowledge and the investigation of what distinguishes justified belief from opinion, and ontology, the study of the nature of being and how do we exist, what can be said to exist. This part of the cyberpunk culture raises difficult questions about the nature of reality, especially as it is more and more mediated by machines. So basically we have the age-old questions in an advanced tech world. The hacker ethic is a philosophy that sharing information and data with others is an ethical imperative. This philosophy meets the concept of freedom of information, as well as the political theories of liberalism, anarchism, and libertarianism. Can we find these elements in Cyberpunk 2077? Well, Cyberpunk 2077 promised to be a different game, bringing a new experience for a different type of gamer. Basically a game developed for next-gen consoles and GPUs, with open-world action and a new approach of choices and interactivity. What was delivered on December 10th, 2020, was like a first draft of a game, which potentially could be different, but in many ways wasn't able to go beyond the standardization of other predecessors, GTA, Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed, etc. However, Cyberpunk 2077 opens the door to new discoveries, from the freedom to choose your identity and to explore Night City in its details. The details of the city are a constant surprise, but at launch it remains peppered with many bugs. Night City is a sad dystopian portrait of modern society that, instead of evolving, involves, with tons of locations to explore and buildings to climb to enjoy the view. When compared to other popular and vast open worlds, Cyberpunk 2077's map does look smaller. However, it's not so easy to compare. The city itself is certainly bigger, and many players said the map of Cyberpunk 2077 is all about verticality, higher megastructures and deep dark alleys, so it could be difficult to make a fair comparison. The Night City architecture draws on the style of brutalism, an architectural style which emerged during the 1950s in Great Britain, among the reconstruction projects of the post-war era. Brutalist buildings are characterized by minimalist constructions that showcase the bare building materials and structural elements over decorative design. The style commonly makes use of exposed concrete or brick, angular geometric shapes, and other materials such as steel, timber, and glass. In this dark city, there are big mysteries, and every mission is an investigation which brings new questions about the evolution of the story and V, the main character. Mysteries are in the conversations, alleys, on the walls, and one of the most interesting mysteries is the strange biochip implanted into V's head. Where do all these mysteries lead us? And how can we unlock Cyberpunk 2077's secret ending? No. Please don't reveal the secret. What do you think? What's your favorite mystery in Cyberpunk? Leave a comment now, your opinion matters. Good luck everyone, and we'll see you on the streets of Night City. If you want to become a time traveler, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this strange story told by an alien and her imaginary friend, a pair that otherwise can't be found anywhere. If you would like to support us on Patreon, you can find a link in the description as well as our store. In our store, you can get an exclusive Cyberpunk-themed t-shirt, sticker, and mug. And of course, stay safe with a MyStoryYourStory mask.
If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't, press thumbs down twice, just to be sure. Take it easy. Peace. Oh, by the way, I'm an alien. But not that kind of alien. Cyberpunk, cyberpunk, cyberpunk.